All right, what's up, everybody? Episode 1 of Cat 4 Questions. I was going to call it Cat 5 Questions, but someone told me there's no more Cat 5, so we're going to go with Cat 4 Questions. And now I'm very confused because I got an email from a guy that said, "Yo, dog, I'm registering for blank blank race. Do I register for Masters or for Cat 5?" So maybe that's a Cat 4 question. There's no Cat 5. What is a Cat 4? So I realize there's about 30,000 of you from the US that go to our blog, and the other 45 are from a ton of other countries. What up, UK, Canada, and Australia? Top 3. Cat 4 is a beginner bike racer, so not necessarily cyclists. You will have your freak athletes in there that just ride away from everyone. You used to have to do 10 races to become a Cat 4, just automatically upgraded. So depending on what country you're watching from, it is your newbie bike racer. So just learning, asking all the questions that we've all asked. But it dawned on me when we did an in-person, just like bike chat, whatever, a really, really experienced cyclist said, "Well, wait a minute, what's TSS?" And I was like, "Oh, snap. Okay, we need to rewind a little bit. Like, don't make assumptions." So I'm going to highlight 4 Cat 4 questions a week, hopefully. Pop these videos out and get some answers. Please submit your questions. I won't shout you out if you don't want to be. You know, sometimes I like to screenshot stuff on Instagram. Hit us up over there. Question 1. I started road racing and the calendar is super busy on Sundays. My question, should I complete my workouts as normal, or how do I adjust? This is kind of from the last video, but I thought it was a good question. If so, I'm currently going through a build and I tapered for the first race, but then I have a race the following weekend. What do I do? So the question that I really want to address here is tapering for races and the idea of what does an A race mean and what does a B race mean? So you can't taper for every race if you race a lot. If you're racing every weekend and you have a bike race on Saturday, so you do like a pretty hard workout. I don't want to say hard workout. We need to define what this like Tuesday workout is. It's like going out and getting maybe 70 TSS in an hour, throwing some efforts down, but not coming home throttled, right? And then you're doing like endurance and openers on Wednesday, Thursday you're resting, Friday openers, Saturday race. Now if you have a race the next Saturday and you do like a group ride Sunday and you recover Monday and you do that again, your fitness is going to be super flat and you're never going to reach your highest high. So that's why as a bike racer you want to pick events that for whatever reason, maybe the A race is going to be a race that is like super prestigious in your area. When I lived in the Northeast, Green Mountain. If you could win a stage at Green Mountain, I don't care if you're Cat 5, 4, whatever, that's a big deal. Everyone's going to that race from like 8-10 hours away. A B race would be definitely your local training races. Most local races, maybe there's a state championship that's in your local area, that would probably be an A race. But training through a B race, which we talked about, I think, in the last blog, is where you're more still doing a hard workout, not just a 70 TSS, doing your hard workout on Tuesday, doing a moderate workout on Wednesday, and then you can say, okay, Thursday I'm going to take off, Friday I'm going to do openers, and I'm going to go race on Saturday. So you're still able to race, but you still got those 2 solid workouts in, okay? So my reply was just, hey, don't taper for every race, just the really important ones. Excuse me. Or you're really going to lose the ability to get your true best fitness. And so you'll hear the term training through. That's what it means. You're training through the race. You're using the race as a workout session. That's your third hard session of the week. Question number 2. I really love SIS gels. I swear to God, I didn't just type this up with caffeine, but I feel like I shouldn't be popping those every 30 to 45 minutes on a longer ride. Given the half-life of caffeine, maybe 1 per hour, or is it diminishing returns? What do you think? So caffeine is really powerful. I never used it during races until this year. Yeah, I know, it's probably not smart. Just when I drink coffee, it makes me go crazy. And then I started drinking way too much coffee, and then I'd get kind of like sad. And so I was like, I don't really need to, like, I don't need caffeine. I'm good without it. But it definitely helps. But the more you take it, the less it's going to have an effect on you, right? So I've actually started lowering my coffee content. Before I was like, I got this awesome coffee maker and I was really loving it. And so I was like, 2 pots coffee, whatever. And I'm gonna pop a gel with caffeine before my hard intervals. And it's just too much. You become too reliant on it. So what I've come down to for long rides, I like it at like hour 2.5. Because once you hit 2.5 hours, that's when endurance starts getting hard. And just having that caffeine to dull that like ache that's in the legs when you got to stay on the gas. Or before crucial moments of an interval session, like before you're going to go bang the hardest interval, I might do that. Or if I'm working capacity, meaning doing like trying to hit 8 intervals, I'm going to do the first 4 without it, crush 1 halfway through and be like, all right, last 4, this is when it gets really hard. Because everybody can get through the first 3 or 4. It's the last 4 that are really difficult. And I'm going to tangent off that. If you fail in the last 4 of a capacity thing, it just shows that it's something you have to work on. I had an athlete that doesn't work with us anymore, got really pissed off every time they failed like a 5th effort. That's really hard. A lot of people aren't even going for 5 or 6 efforts on some of these workouts. Like, don't be so negative to yourself because you can't complete every possible part of a workout. Like, if you can complete 40 minutes of some hard stuff sometimes, that's really good. Don't be so hard on yourself. Okay, hey, this is a quick question. Hey, I'm riding at 5 a.m. What's the fueling suggestion? So if I do a group ride, I don't ride that well when it's that early, mainly because you don't get to eat. 60 to 80% of your liver glycogen is used overnight. You still supposedly have your skeletal glycogen stores. I don't know the data of how much of that, if any, is used. Some say none. But when you ride super early, you just don't have as much gas in the tank. So what I try and do is just take a gel or a sports drink. You guys know I use Science and Sport Go as opposed to Beta Fuel because I like to eat gels. And if you take Beta Fuel, you really can't be popping too many gels. But I would use Beta Fuel in a super early morning situation or like before a big gravel race when they start at freaking 5 in the morning, 6 in the morning. So that's part of my meal. I'm just trying to take things that I would eat on the bike because you're about to be on the bike in an hour. I'm not eating solid food at 4 a.m. for a 5 a.m. ride. Okay, hey, I'm tapering for a big Gran Fondo event. I realize that it's not supposed to be a recovery week because I come back feeling somewhat stale and my legs have a hard time pushing. It's pretty normal. We have been experimenting with kind of like a version 2 rest week that's been working pretty well. Any suggestions for these last 2 weeks? So yeah, I mean, it's really it's a hard thing to sometimes explain because some of it is by feel, but if you follow the best, that's the one thing that I think people can kind of screw up is this really, really long, overdrawn taper. And if you look at the literature that's been there for a long time, showing that people do better for neuromuscular, hard, quick, short efforts with more rest, which is why when I have athletes come off a rest week, we test neuromuscular durations that don't usually get max wattages to keep their PD curve healthy. Now, if you're going to go do a Gran Fondo where you need to be able to still ride 100 miles, that weekend before, I would still ride 60 miles, okay? And if you ride a lot, I'd ride 70 miles, easy, but keep the body knowing that hey, I'm still riding long, still going to go be on the bike for 5 hours next weekend, 6 hours next weekend. And during that week, you're just dropping the volume, keeping the intensity. Do some openers. Openers are 5 by 30 seconds at your VO2 max power. VO2 max power. Max it out at 120% FTP. Do not go set your PR for sprints. Like some people will go do openers and they're just like, you don't have to do that. Just keep the body knowing that it's going to be riding hard on the weekend. So, episode 1 in the books. 4 questions. Hit me up with your questions. Next week, we're looking at watts per kilogram. We're looking at an FTP test, glycogen depletion and fasted riding, and cyclocross. See you guys. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, share, help us out. Appreciate you more than you know. See ya.